Hi, welcome back to 17 square meters garden. In today's video I'm going to buy some flowers for my balcony railing planters, so for these ones. So yeah, I'm gonna take one of the pots with me so that I can measure how many plants I can fit in them, even though I already have some idea, because it's not the first time that I'm planting them, but still I like to take one pot with me. So I detached one of the pots. I'm gonna take it with me to the nursery so that I can create some composition, because I don't plan ahead, because each time that I planned ahead or I try to imagine some composition, then I could never find the exact plants that I wanted. So I just take my pot, I go there, check what they have and try to come up with something. Okay, back on the balcony, let me show you what flowers I picked. Okay, I have these gorgeous petunias, and although petunias are full sun plants, full sun flowers, they tend to do well on the balcony because my balcony is northeast facing, so the sun comes this direction, so they catch a few hours of morning sun, and I grew petunias before and they do really well. So we have some white diacia. I already used the same diacia last year and it performed really well, so I use it as sort of a thriller. It's flexible, so it's not gonna break in wind, because as I mentioned in my previous video where I planted flowers on the sunny balcony, I don't use thrillers because there's so much wind that they just break. So this serves sort of as a thriller. I have impatiens, beautiful impatiens. They have sort of lavender lilac color. I really love these. They are great for part shade and for shade. Diacia also does really well in part shade. As my trailing plant, I have the Contra Silver Falls. Also grew it I think a couple of years ago, and it is gorgeous. One plant can trail really long. Here we have Bacopa, purple Bacopa. I really wanted to grow Bacopa this year. I thought that I will take a white one, but I ended up taking a purple, and I think that it will look really cute alongside with this pink impatiens. So that's a concept that I came up with at the garden center. Of course, it's not planted yet, it's just like provisory. So we have two Bacopas, two petunias, two impatiens and two diacias. I'm not sure if I will keep them exactly this way, but that's sort of the idea that I went with. So yeah, always place your plants, always place your flowers before you plant them, so that you have an idea of how you want the plants to look like, so that you can move them around and change compositions before it's planted. One other thing that I wanted to mention before I start planting is that all my pots are attached with zip ties. I don't use this typical pot support because either the pot support doesn't fit the railing, it swings in between the two bars, or they are very expensive, because my pots are really large, and when I check the price of pot supports for this size of pots, it's a little bit too much. So I use the zip ties, and it has worked well for me since many years. The pot doesn't move, and we have crazy winds. I shared many times how crazy winds we have here. When you take a plant and you see that it's a bit root bound, what you can do is just gently pull the roots, tease them with your finger. That was a lot of work. I managed to clean everything, to collect all the pots. I'm gonna bring them to a garden center where you can recycle your old pots. I I sweep the floor, and yeah, let me show you how they all look. Okay, so this is one pot from up close, and that's exactly what I want. I want the bacopa to mix in with this petunia. This dichondra silver falls will trail, and the impatiens will just barely poke through the back. And diasia, as I mentioned, it's a little bit of a thriller here in this composition, but it's gonna create a little mound of white flowers, and that's the habit that it has. It just spreads itself everywhere in the pot and pokes through in between other flowers, and I really like that look. I hope that you enjoyed today's project. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!